it's on. You know what, my friends? You know what? You're probably thinking, oh no, it's Leggy. I just wanted a quiet evening and then Leggy pops up. No, my friends, it is time. And you're going to say, time for what, Leggy? It is time for a confession. I have to make a confession about this fragrance. But first of all, I really appreciate you being here. This channel is absolutely crazy. It's just me, John Legg, and a shed load of fragrances. Everywhere you look, there's fragrances. Okay. It's all about the fragrance, not selling you anything. This channel's not monetized, not sponsored, anything like that. It's just to inspire you to wear a good fragrance every day. Now, my confession, my friends, is this. Where is it? Here we go. Hawas for Him by Rasasi. When I first smelt it, because I smelt it alongside this one, Hawas Ice, I kind of maybe sort of slightly underestimated and misjudged and kind of got it a little bit wrong. Because here's the thing. When I smelt these two, okay, I actually had the two come through together. I was kind of a little bit late to the Hawas party. And I sprayed Hawas on one hand. I sprayed Hawas Ice on the other. And whilst Hawas wowed me, Hawas Ice literally picked me up and blew me away. Now, I kind of, with Hawas, because it was kind of not, for me, as good as Hawas Ice, I ended up just thinking, it's just okay. And Hawas Ice, I mean, this is like this has been a love affair, this has. Alright, the other confession I need to make is that one bottle has already gone in the recycle. Bottle number 2 is empty. Bottle number 3 is on dribbles. Bottle number 4 has got the cellophane off and is just about to be used. I'm macerating it. And bottle number 5 has still got the cellophane on. Okay. Hawas Ice for me is an absolute passion. It seriously is just so amazing for me. And what drives me with this is the results I get. In other words, the people, the random people sometimes who just say, you smell so good. And the people who demand, literally come up to you and say, I need to know what you're wearing. But all right. So Hawas Ice is still my first choice out of these two. Here's the thing. Hawas for Him, empty bottle. That's my second bottle. Now, let me try and describe for you the whole concept, because there isn't a massive amount that separates Hawas and Hawas Ice. There isn't a huge difference between these two. But let me try and explain to you in layman's terms what Hawas and Hawas Ice is all about. Okay. It's all about the fruit. It's all about some gorgeous, rich, very sweet kind of bubblegummy fruit. Okay, it is the fruit. That's what hits you throughout both of these fragrances. There is also a sort of a slightly minty vibe. There is also a slightly salty kind of vibe. There is also a very slightly sort of spicy sort of vibe. And then there's a gorgeous sort of ambery, very light sort of wood drop. Okay. Let's get a little bit more technical. Okay. At the top, the fruits consist of a nice, crisp, juicy apple. Then there's a lemon, and the lemon is gorgeous. The lemon is in both of these, absolutely stunningly gorgeous, and it's paired with a bergamot. So it's all about being fresh, it's about being clean. Okay, it really is straight out the shower, fresh, clean, gorgeous. Okay. Okay. Also at the top, you've got like a little sort of smattering of cinnamon. That sweet, spicy cinnamon. Not overly cinnamony, but just there as a little sort of dusting at the top. Absolutely gorgeous. And that top is everything about this fragrance. It is absolutely the fruits. It's, you know, you have to like a fruity fragrance. There is a bit of woodiness to it, there's a little bit of amberness to it, but realistically you have to like a very, very juicy, sweet, attention grabbing, bubblegummy style fruity fragrance. Then in the middle of both of these fragrances, I'm going to give you an example. Here we go. Hawas and Hawas Ice. I don't know if you noticed, but Hawas, the original Hawas for Him, is a slightly sort of purpley kind of juice. Hawas Ice is sort of a bluey sort of ice. A bluey sort of juice. Okay, in the middle, and this is what gives it the real piercing sweetness, is a plum. Now I'm absolutely convinced that it is exactly the same plum that is in 1 Million Lucky. Let me just open. I need a moment. Whenever I say 1 Million Lucky, I just have to go, man, that is 100% my favourite 1 million. In fact, it's probably one of my certainly in my top 5, okay, fragrances of all time. So the plum, that juicy, almost overripe kind of squeezed plum, gives it its kind of, dare I say, slightly screechy sweetness. Okay, and you're going to say, Leggy, none of this sounds particularly great. Trust me, the bubblegum and the slightly screechy sweet plum absolutely work. Then you drop down, well, there's also a little bit of cardamom just for that sort of smooth spiciness in the middle. And then when you drop down, it's essentially nice, light amber. And I think one of them, I think the ice has got something like driftwood. Okay, I don't really know what driftwood's all about. I guess it's something you found on the beach and you rub it together and you make a juice of it. I don't know. Okay, but realistically, the base is light, sweet, ambery, kind of woody sort of drop. It isn't really an oily kind of wood. It's a very light, very, very light wood. But realistically, my friends, it's all about the fruit. Now, if you are going to be ultra critical and maybe ultra snobby, you'd say that both of these smell somewhat artificial. I suppose to be really...
As a wise human once said, whoever smelt it, dealt it.
Where did that come from? Hey, who woke Siri up? Go back to sleep. Damn me. Right. So, where was I? Oh yeah. So if I was going to be ultra critical, I would say that they kind of both come across as a little bit synthetic. Okay, that's, you know, if you're going to be a snob, but trust me, in the air, they are both absolutely stunning. But let me tell you, the results you get from both of these, absolutely amazing. More so the ice, because, all right, let me try and explain the difference. So they've all got they both have got very similar notes in the note breakdown. In fact, almost identical. But I've kind of come up with a conclusion of how to explain to you in layman's terms what the difference is between ice and the original Hawas. Okay, ice is Hawas in HD or high definition. So in Hawas Ice, everything is more defined, everything is juicier, everything is not necessarily sweeter, but it's more crystal, it's more clearer, okay? And I have to be honest, out of the two, Hawas Ice off my skin, literally, for about 2-3 sometimes 3.5 hours, this stuff is projecting. And when I say projecting, because it's piercingly sweet, it literally fires off you. About 3.5 hours, sometimes a little bit more. On clothes, it's there for a couple of days, and on skin, it's detectable the following day. Now, the only downside to ice, and when I, not ice, the original Hawas, and when I smelt these two together, you see, you smell ice and it's like, whoa, it's all over the place. Hawas is somewhat muted. Okay, it's the same kind of smell, but it's just muted. Now, I've had several people message me and say that the original Hawas has been sort of reformulated at least sort of maybe 3-4 times. And maybe I can just detect that it is maybe a shadow of its former self. Excuse me. Now, although it is a shadow of its former self, the original formulation, I'm told, was much more stronger than this, it's still a very respectable performance. Whereas this is pretty much an all-day fragrance. This, for me, sits a lot closer. It's more subdued. In fact, in some ways, it's a little bit more respectful. This is literally just all over the place. It punches. As you walk past people, this punches their nostrils. I'm so sorry about Siri. He should be asleep by now, but I don't know why he keeps waking up. Right, so the original Hawas is muted. It's slightly smoother in some respects, whereas Hawas Ice is so much more defined. Hawas, now I don't know whether in the original formulation it was as muted as it is, or whether it's just now having been reformulated a few times. But for me, this is a lot smoother. It almost kind of feels like it's got a little bit more respect, whereas this is just sort of letting the dogs out the ice. Okay, so the confession is this: I actually took them both to work. Okay, and I work in a car dealership, Hyundai and Mazda. So I've got a great selection of people to try fragrances on. You know, there's various ages from old. There's some people in their 70s and there's some people in their teens. There's male, there's female. It's a great opportunity that I have. Okay, so I went round and I sprayed everyone. Hawas on one hand, Hawas Ice on the other. And you know what? This is the crazy thing. Whereas I'm absolutely besotted with ice, not one person chose ice. Everyone, when they smelt it, everyone, old, young, male, female, everyone said Hawas was the better of the two. Now, let me try and explain to you. Having worn these an awful lot, having got through hundreds of bottles of these, okay, slight exaggeration, having got through a shed lot of bottles, I can honestly tell you that up close, the original Hawas is better. Okay, on the skin, the original Hawas is so much nicer. There's just something very sort of screechy. There's something a little bit annoying on the skin of Hawas Ice. And I can fully understand why everyone I sprayed it for at my place of work, everyone said, I like the Hawas. In fact, a lot of people said, Hawas Ice, they said it's just too loud, it's just too much.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Right, next time I do a video, I'm going to have to turn this Siri thing off. Okay, so the original Hawas close up is by far the more elegant. But, oh man, I'm going to use one of my favourite words. If you want a fragrance which is more, one of my favourite words coming up, flamboyant, It's one of those words I love. There's certain words which I have an absolute passion for. The other one I love is diabolical. You know, when you try and fit them into your everyday sentences. But the word flamboyant I haven't used for years. In fact, I was probably about 6 when I last used it. And it's like a bucket list thing. I just wanted to use the word flamboyant. So they both smell very similar. This one, Hawas Ice, has a more excitable character. It has more energy. They both have energy, but Hawas Ice has way more energy. Hawas is more subdued. Hawas is a bit more polite. Whereas this would push its way to the front of the queue, Hawas wouldn't. Hawas would be the gentleman and let other people go first. I hope I've given you enough explanation. So honestly, for me, if I could only have one of these, it would be Hawas Ice all day long. This one, well, you can see how many bottles I've got through. I don't want to talk about it, but I've got to confess I didn't give this enough credit, and it is definitely worth having in your collection. Okay. I'm going to love you and leave you now. I'm going to let you get back to your peaceful evening, which I have probably shattered, and I almost feel guilty. But here's the thing. Please, 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 if you have time, please come back for the next one, because hopefully there'll be another one. Please, please, please drop me a comment. Just down there, you can type in and you can say, Leggy, you talk more rubbish than a wheelie bin. Or whatever you want to say, or if you want to give me a recommendation or something I should try, or ask me a question, trust me, Leggy guarantee I will respond to every single comment down there. The other thing I'd love you to do, with a capital L, I'd love you. See how oily? That's Hawas Ice. Look how oily the back of my hand is. Okay. The other thing is, these are stunning performances. Oh, I ought to tell you, here in the UK, for the 100ml de Parfum, you can now buy Hawas Ice for about £27. You can now buy Hawas for a similar figure. I think it's about £28 or £29. Be very, very careful, my friends. There is a load of people selling fakes of these on eBay. If it's around about £14 to £20, trust me, it is a Chinese fake. Do not buy them. Where were we? Oh yeah. The thing is, can you click on the thumbs up? And it goes like that, and you feel so good about making me feel good. So I absolutely love thumbs up. But you know, my friends, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to inspire you to do this. Okay, we're going to have the best of both worlds here. Now, if you're bothered about the sprayers and the quality of everything, Hawas, made by Rasasi, everything feels great quality. The cap, if you drop it on your foot, you'll be crying for a week. They're good, heavy stuff, and the sprayers are amazing. But this is what I need you to do. Every single day, choose a good fragrance, and if you can't make your mind up, do this. I've finished it. Hawas Ice, it's over. Okay, thank you for being here. Please come back next time. Stay safe and never ever stop spraying. Goodbye. Stop taking video. Oh yeah, that's me.